Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Mindy. Today we're going to talk about INTJs. INTJs, yes. There are two things that we're going to talk in this video. Number one is going to be my analysis of the backbone of the INTJ. And number two, the development of the INTJ. Okay, but before I start, I want to please ask you to like my video because you're gonna help me for more people to find my video as well. And you can buy me coffees, treat me to coffees if you enjoy my content. Please check the links below for more information. And now let's dive in. My dear INTJs viewers, thank you very much for always being here. And introverted intuition is, I call the force that's moving the INTJ, also the INFJs of course, but this video is about INTJs. This is who you are at your real core. This is what you don't try to do, what you don't try to be. This is who you are, this visionary person. You are in your mind thinking of the possibilities of a particular thing. You have a pretty clear picture of what the future is, how the future looks like, what's the best outcome for you. And this is not something that you try and do, no, this is something that it just happens in your head by default. This is what makes you this strategist person, because you can strategize very well with this kind of narrow vision that you have. Even though you can look at the big picture, you can narrow down easily and faster. You look at the patterns of what you're looking at and you can say, this is the best way, this is the outcome, this is where I want to go. You just know it. There is a big knowing inside of you because you just see like different dots and then you connect them quickly and just like, no, this is it. That is what INTJs you are good at. Yes, we all have all of the 8 functions. We have 4 conscious functions and we have 4 subconscious functions. Introverted intuition, yes, you're dominant. That's what you thrive doing. Like, it doesn't mean that the other ones you don't have. You do have them. For instance, the second function, which is extroverted thinking, would mean that that's your style of making decisions. Ideally, it doesn't mean that you do it all the time. We're going to talk that later with the development part. But it means like you prefer to do very effective sort of thinking and decision making. So you're not going to go and think and try to look at all of the holes and stuff like the introverted thinkers would do, because your way of thinking is extroverted, which is looking into what is the most effective path. And also that's backed up by your introverted intuition, as I said, that narrows down and says like, this is what I want, this is the vision I have. And so the thinking will just help for that way of intuition to come into fruition, basically. Then you have your third function, the tertiary introverted feeling, which says that you're more self-centered than focus on the other. First, my values are more important. You know, it's not about like, oh, I'm feeling what my heart is saying. Well, yes, to some extent, but it's not only what is implied. It's implied my value. So do I value first what I need, what I feel can be what I want, more than what the other ones? Because the extroverted feeling, on the other hand, is going to be looking for harmony. I always say like the word for extroverted feeling is harmony. So that's not your style, INFJ. So let's say, even though you have feeling as a third function, it doesn't mean that you cannot feel much. No, it means, yes, you use it less, but whenever you need to go and use that, what is my value system? Am I valuing what I need? Am I valuing what the other needs? It's going to be an introverted feeling. And then the last function that we have is extroverted sensing. So it's more busy with what do I have around me? What are the resources that I can use? That's contrary to introverted sensing, that is looking for more for like, what is my inner process? What to expect from the inner process of other people? It needs to be done the way that I think inside of my head it needs to be done. The extroverted sensing is like more looking at the world in its like physical part. It doesn't mean that the INTJ is going to be like really hands-on, but they would prefer that over the introverted sensing, which I just explained. So this is how actually I'm giving you a good teaching about MBTI. So this is how it works. So I just explained how, let's say, the brain of the INTJ is built up. Now, these are the 4 conscious functions. So as I said, it doesn't mean that you're all the time going to use extroverted sensing. No, but whenever you need to use it, you would be more concerned with my resources around the physical world. How can I make it happen more than how can I build up processing my head? That it's more inside the introverted sensing, right? So the first function, the introverted intuition, is the dominant. The second function is what the INTJs do in order to make decisions. But here's the point where I wanted to go and dive in the second part, the development. It doesn't mean that the INTJ is always going to choose extroverted thinking in order to make a decision. It means this is the best path of development for the INTJs. And I see that many INTJs do it, but when INTJ is under stress, they can jump and skip it and jump directly into the third function, which is introverted feeling. That means that from my narrow vision that I have, then I go into being concerned with what I need, what I want, what my inner values are around this. Instead of when you're in the extroverted thinking, you can strategize and you can put a proper plan into action so you can actually go and do it. So when you put down a proper plan in action, then you verify it with your introverted feeling. So like, yeah, this is actually, I double check, this is really it. And then you use lastly extroverted sensing in order to bring that thing into fruition. This is actually a good explanation of how the whole process of the INTJ works. Of course, you can always leave the comments down below and tell me if this is the same process for you or not. Are you skipping the second function? Are you skipping extroverted thinking and going directly to introverted feeling? Which I consider it's a situation that happens more often than not when the INTJ is or very young or going under like a period of stress. So that happens to every type. So lastly, on this video, I wanted to touch the polar function. So the polar function is the blindest function that there is in the stack of functions. So that's the seventh function. And the seventh function for the INTJ is extroverted feeling. Yeah, the scary thing, like, whoa, the rest, what are they feeling? Oh my God, no, I cannot deal with that. Yeah, I know, INTJ, it's a tough one. And I kind of get you as an ENFP. I mean, it's kind of tough as well, but I don't think it's as tough as for you guys. But I think this is the real thing, the real thingy, I don't know how to even call it, that you can work on. If you're already using your fourth functions in a proper way, your next step should be to focus on your extroverted feeling, your development of that function. And I know that it's not going to be something that you're going to be good at immediately. Let me explain if you don't know what is extroverted feeling. So extroverted feeling is this function that is concerned with the other, with what the other is going through, what the other is feeling, with the values of the other person. So the INTJ, what is INFJ all the time? INTJ is concerned with their own things, you know, like as I said, third function is still a strong function. It's introverted feeling, so they're concerned with what do I need, what is the best for me in this situation, you know. They look at this vision, the big picture that they have, they narrow down this is the best for themselves. You know, you have other types that are concerned with the others, like the INFJ, for instance. This is a good difference between the two types by nature. So the INTJ, on the other hand, has this polar, the seventh function, the blindest function, according to socionics, which I pretty much agree with, is the blind spot. And that means that the INTJ has a tough time with understanding what the feelings of the other person is. What are they going through? Actually, even to feel like, okay, what I'm saying, the way I'm saying it, it must be the most effective way for me. It might help me to reach my goal of having the best relationship according to whatever the vision is, you know, if this is a relationship, but that's hurting the other person, you know. And I guess it's super tough for an INTJ to say like, okay, how can I, tell me, Mindy, how can I feel for that person? Well, I'm afraid you might never be able to actually feel it, but I think for you, INTJ, it is more of a rational process. So yes, I said that, it's rational, and I'm a feeler. I don't know, I came up with this conclusion, but yeah, it's rational. So it's something that you need to understand basically. Is if you want to work on your extroverted feeling, you imagine that the other person, unless they are another INTJ like you, but probably you notice that whatever you're saying to them, it's having an impact or it's having an effect on them. that it's influencing or making them feel sad or something, or even they tell you this, like, okay, the way you talk to me is a bit too rough or something like that. So take that into consideration. So you might not be able to feel what they're feeling as the extroverted feelers will do, but take the time to, if this person is saying that, if you notice that what you're saying is affecting them somehow, then try to soften that. That's as easy as that. If you know that telling is a super sarcastic joke to some person, you think that's fun, but that's not fun for the other person, then you should consider that if that person is saying that it's annoying or that's hurting them, trust them. Like, mentally put it in your head and say, I believe them. INTJ, repeat with me. I don't know how does it feel like to be that person. Say it. Thank you. So I don't know how does it feel like to be that person, but I believe them. So I am gonna rationally take that into consideration. And whenever I want to say, express this kind of jokes, just to give an example, I'm going to remember that's something to that person. Again, you don't need to feel it. And I say this also as an introverted feeler myself. I'm an introverted feeler auxiliary. And I've noticed that this kind of really helps when you mentally understand. For instance, just to share one little thing that can help how I handle myself, that is as an ENFP. Even though I tend to pay attention to people and all of that, there was a moment whenever I thought it was more important to say my opinion than to let the other, during a discussion or a conversation, than to let the other. I was like, yes, but I need to communicate that, and I'm gonna just continue and say. So no, I learned that even if I don't know how that person feels like, I notice that it makes that well to that person, and that it helps the whole communication to go clearly or better if I take into consideration what is important also for that person, even if you don't feel it. So this is my advice for you. Okay, please leave your comments and I want to read you. So let me know what you think of this video, of what I told you today. Don't forget that you can come up to me and send me an email down below so I can give one-on-one consultations. We can go through your problems, your situations. I can help you to go through them with one-on-one sessions. More information on the email. Buy me a coffee if you enjoy this. You can kind of tip me so I can go and get coffees. Thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time.